have to kind of start from the beginning and go real fast. I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was born and raised here. My parents, my father worked for American Airlines for, I don't know how many years. My father worked for American Airlines, I'm sorry, for I don't know how many years. And my mother worked as a nurse, and she was the first black nurse at Tulsa University, and we're real proud of that. And but I don't mean any disrespect to anyone when I say this, but until I was 12, absolutely, I lived in a black world, and I didn't know. On North Tulsa, we had, and this was way after the riots, needless to say that my grandmother was a race riot survivor, but they never told us. We didn't know nothing about that. But at any rate, in North Tulsa, we had everything. We really did. We had bowling alleys, we had movie theaters, we had grocery stores, Piggly Wiggly. Oh my God, I can't name all the stuff. And then Kennedy was assassinated, and then Martin Luther King, and then the second Kennedy, and then they passed integration. They passed integration. And the way they decided to integrate in Tulsa public schools was to bus the black kids to the white side schools. And there were two schools that the black people just absolutely would not give up, and that was Booker T. Washington and Carver. And so what they did was they voluntarily integrated Booker T. and Carver, and they brought all kinds of exciting college preparatory classes to Booker T, like mountain climbing and kayaking and really, and it was just like, you know, because that was things that we didn't have on our side necessarily, but you know, we knew how to do it if we could. But and so anyway, to make a long story short, I went through a lot. And the reason I'm here, I didn't know. We went to, they bused me at 12. I was only 12. It was my first day at 7th grade. And I was supposed to go to Anderson, but they did that in the middle of the summertime. And so although we were cheerleaders and footballs for one school, they changed it in the middle of the summertime, and they bused us to Cleveland. And I lived over by, we lived over by Booker T. So they bused us to Memorial and Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And so and I was still excited. And I'm sorry, I'm watching the clock, but it was the day of the Polaroid cameras. Mm-hmm. And they had the flash. Y'all might not, some of y'all might not remember, but they had a flash cube. Mm-hmm. There was a little square thing. And you set it on top of a Polaroid camera, and it twisted. And every time you made a snapshot, it twisted. And then they came out with the flash cube, flash bar, and you could stick that on, and it would make 10 flashes at one. And that was so exciting to us, and that was the era that we were in. And so I got a new outfit for my 7th grade. It was a red, white, and blue Star American two-piece culotte. I know some of y'all don't remember what culottes were, but it was a one-piece that you put on and then button up the thing, and they were shorts. It was called culottes. You remember? You're telling my age. But anyway, it was culottes, and I was red, white, and blue. And then I had red, white, and blue moccasins. They were in style, the little moccasins with the friend. They was red, white, and blue with big stars on them too, and I was all excited. And my mother took a picture of me with the Polaroid camera. It was a black and white. It was before color. But anyway, it was before color. It was a black and white, and I'll never forget it. And I didn't know, and they loaded us on the bus, and we went to Cleveland. We never made it into school. They tried to kill us. We were 12. When we got up the ramp from Lewis and made that left turn, I think it's on Birmingham.
Yep.
The bus driver, who was a white guy, said, "Oh my God." And we just was kids, you know, excited on our first day of school. And the bus driver had to stop the bus. This is a true story. He had to stop the bus, and he said, I can't get you to the school. It's my job to get y'all to the school. And I can't get you to the school, and I can't take you back home. He said, now we're in an emergency situation, kids, and this is what y'all gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to bust out the back of the door on the bus, and y'all gonna have to escape out the back of the bus and try to, we couldn't get home. There was a phone booth, they still had phone booths, and it was packed with kids. So I'm gonna speed it up. So at any rate, they built these parks. When it was hard to integrate, we integrated at Springdale. We ended up at Springdale Park. Across the tracks, you had to cross these tracks and a creek. And on the other side is where we lived. So they built B.C. Franklin Park for us with all this bond money. And then then that's why we want Springdale Park. The reason I'm here is this last third penny sales tax, they allocated specifically at least $330,000 for that park. And there was an additional $470,000 that was a grant, a Graham grant, that they put out, earmarked specifically for those parks. I have been fighting and following this council around since I graduated and went back and came back with a baby 20 years later in 2006. I've been following them. The mayor told me in 2008, when they closed those pools, those parks have not been closed for 10 years as their script says. And you go to some of these meetings, people, you'll listen, it's a script. The city came in and took the keys from the community, and they told us when we put the lights back on the freeway, when we hire some police academies, when we hire some fire academies, we will establish ourselves, put some more money in the rainy day fund. We will put those parks back together. And that is the promise that I have been going on personally from the mayor for the last 3 years consecutively. They have closed all those parks. They cannot tell me where the $870,000 is from the third penny sales tax that was allocated specifically earmarked for a park. They decided in a master plan that they knew about all along that they were going to destroy. Not only were they not going to fix the park, they were going to demolish them. And they put them on a shopping block. Maxwell Park, Ben Hill Park, Springdale Park. These are the ones that I know about. Turner, and the list goes on and on. And they decided that they would do that last year, March 2012.
Remember that.
And somebody called me before I moved to this district and said, Miss Joy, did you know they was going to tear down our parks? And I said, no, I didn't know. And they said, we got a little time until March. And I said, January, I'm getting busy. So they excuse me people, but they started these in your neighborhood city hall. The first one was January 10th at the Rudisill Library. I got posters in my car where I personally went around and made posters and flyers, and I didn't have no duplicating machine. I made one after one after one after one. And then the mayor's wife called, and I'm just telling you, I'm sorry. The money is not going where it's supposed to go. But if you had gone last night, I can answer your question to what they said last night about that BOK Center. They said that the BOK Center does not generate enough revenue to pay for the expenditures that may occur, whatever facilities may need to be repaired. And I'm thinking, really? And Justin Bieber just left here? Are you serious? I contained myself. I feel more friendly with y'all over here. So I said, since you're being paid with my tax dollars, why don't you investigate? Since I've been to 13 months of meetings, and you want me to go to 13 more months. In the meantime, in between time, the next set of meetings is going to be after the summertime. So that's another year that my kids are not going to have any water in their pools. And I'm saying that an abatement says if you let your home go in disrepair, then they're going to sue you, and they're going to put a lien on your property if you don't hurry up and bring it up to code. And my question is, if you got $870,000 in third penny sales tax, why is it the city? Who holds the city accountable for abatement in their own backyard? But you guys have to help me. And they say that each neighborhood's responsibility is to get on the email and get on the electronics and tip, tap, tip, tap, tip. I don't have a computer at home. Can y'all help me? Please. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Can talk about it.
Number 11.
Number 11?
11 is Mr. Bendo.
You know, a bunch of us can talk from the head, and that's good, that's important, but it helps to hear from the heart too, doesn't it?